This question comes from Ken, who says, I have a property in the Parkview estate at North Lakes. When will it be possible to investigate moving to solar power for clean energy requirements? Great question, and really topical as solar power is becoming much more prevalent in the strata industry. So Parkview Estate, or Parkview North Lakes, in this particular case is a townhouse style development. So each lot owner in Parkview has an individual electricity connection to the grid and also has their own roof because they're in a townhouse or villa style development. So in that particular building, owners already have the ability to install solar power for their own uses in their own home, just like if they were living in a house. There is a requirement that external solar power be made an application to the body corporate and approved, because the body corporate is responsible for roofing and the condition of roofs, and solar power obviously being installed on the roof can have an impact on that responsibility. So something to consider, and I would suggest that owners are freely able to go and get their own quotes for solar power and make those applications to their body corporate. We do have a form on our website for solar power applications, so asking you the right questions for that type of application and helping owners to sort of guide them through that process of applying for approval and how to deal with, individual responses from their committees. So that deals with the solar power for individual units. A separate question for the body corporate as a group, so through the body corporate committee, is to decide whether it is viable to install solar power for the common areas of the building. So in common area power usage, often the main usage of power is lighting, and that happens at night when the sun is out of, the moon's out and the sun's not out. So if a building has a bulk of its power usage at night in the dark and not a lot of power consumed during the day when the sun is shining, it often changes the payback time significantly. So in a normal home or a townhouse, during the day you might be running air conditioning if you're working from home, and you have the dishwasher and the washing machine going. So you might use a fair bit of power during the day when the sun is strong and the power generation is high. In a body corporate context, because the lighting is the main driver of power costs, maybe the pool pump, it may be uneconomical to install solar power without also installing a battery, and those can be quite expensive. So the body corporate can do a viability study on solar power. There are solar companies that will look at power bills and provide some advice to bodies corporate about, if they install solar, how many kilowatts they would need, whether they would need a battery, and then based on those two factors and their power consumption, how long the payback time would be. And something I'd say is, if a body corporate looked at this, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and it was not viable, it may become viable in either now or in the future as the cost of solar panels, inverters, and batteries comes down pretty rapidly. So what may have been unsustainable in the past doesn't mean it will be that way forever. And at some stage, it would be fantastic for all bodies corporate to be running on solar power that they generate from, the environmental standpoint, but also the ability for the body corporate to insulate itself against rises in electricity costs.